I'm addressing this because it is a frequently asked question, although it's not really one that I've had experience with. Basically, the question is, what if I'm addicted to sugar?
I'm Jackie, here to answer questions about my journey from fat weak and sick to trim, strong, and healthy.
And some people apparently have reactions to sugar that are nearly at the addiction level. And that's not a bad way to think of it, because I mean, the appropriate amount of sugar for a diabetic is none whatsoever, so it could be considered very similar to how alcoholics think that they cannot drink. I cannot eat sugar, I'm not going to eat sugar, but honestly, that's really just not a big issue for me because I don't actually like sugar. My issue had much more to do with, honestly, my addiction, if we're going to call it that, would have been pizza. I never had a bad day that I didn't want a pizza. Occasionally a sub, but one of those two, mostly pizza. And most of what's good about pizza, pepperoni and mushrooms and onions and cheese and sauce, if it's not too much sauce, and lots of oregano and garlic, are all things I can eat. It's just the bread underneath that is the issue. And it's not the same to put all that stuff on a salad, I gotta say. What it is, honestly, for me, is deciding that I like me more than I like pizza. And I like being able to walk much more than I like pizza. I like... a friend of mine online was arguing with me about an extraordinarily rare potential side effect of being in ketosis. And given that a year and a half ago I was dying, I've had a year and a half of feeling better than I had felt in decades from not eating pizza. Or, like I said, the sugar was kind of easy for me. I never liked sweets much. Even like my favorite things, like I'd eat half of it and it would taste too sweet. I couldn't keep eating. I never put piles of sugar in my coffee. My mom was strict about sugar when we were kids, so I never grew much of a sweet tooth. But boy, oh boy, do I have a pizza tooth. And a lot of it for me is a change in thinking. Instead of thinking of it as comfort food that makes me feel better, I think of it as, it's going to sound like an exaggeration, but it's really not. Carbs are a food that tried to kill me repeatedly. I nearly died from diabetes, from the heart attack. I nearly died from when I was on certain medications, diabetic ketoacidosis. From those same medications, about a year later, I had necrotizing fasciitis. And while I was in the hospital with that, I had a pulmonary embolism. I mean, carbs tried to kill me a bunch of times. And I was dying when I quit them. And I've had a year and a half of life that even if I got some rare thing that happened, disease that comes from happening and being in ketosis, I've already come out ahead, way ahead. And I'm just not going back. I broke up with carbs and I'm not going back. They tried to kill me. Having that kind of mindset is very different from thinking I'm going to, cut out sugar and carbs until I lose weight or until I feel better, and then I'll let some back in. It's just an entirely different mindset. And I mean, that's in AA, I know they talk about hitting bottom, basically getting to the point where you realize that the alcohol has cost you everything and that it's not worth it. And that's where I was with carbs. So if sugar is an addiction to you, which most people seem to want to talk about sugar being the problem, whereas for me, like I said, it's pasta, garlic bread, pizza, mostly starches. I got myself diabetic with starches more so than sugar. And And it lies to you. It tells you it's a comfort food, it's going to make you feel better, and it never does. And when you actually think about it, just plain sugar has no taste. I mean, it just tastes sweet. It's not even... There are so many things I can think of that are sweet that have some flavor to them, but sugar, not so much. It's just sugar. Most of the starches are that way too. The pizza, just having the pizza crust, that's got no flavor. Pasta has no flavor till you put some sauce into it. Rice is flavorless. I mean, most of this stuff, it's not nearly as yummy as, mac and cheese is not good without the cheese, there's so little that you're actually giving up. And there's so much you gain having a life again. One of the most amazing experiences for me, my PCP retired because he was older than dirt. I liked him though, but I found a new doctor, and when I went into her office the first time, there were 6 people there. It's a multi-doctor practice, so there were 6 people there, and I walked in the room and was the smallest person in the room. That had never, ever, ever happened to me before, and it shocked me. Then a nurse came out to weigh me, the depressing bit, to weigh me and do the intake stuff and see what meds were changed and all that good stuff. And she was trim. She looked better than me. I'm like, okay, everyone here isn't larger than me. And then I thought, oh gosh, I hope the doctor, and yeah, she came in, she was a pretty large woman also. And I was there to tell her all about all the weight I lost and how I'm not diabetic anymore. And while I was discussing the lymphedema with her, and how it really was gone, except for a little bit in my right leg, I looked down as I was pointing to my legs and realized my legs were crossed, which I don't remember having done since childhood. Seriously, I'm sure I probably could still do it in high school. I don't know about college. I don't remember. It just shocked me so much. There's so that I could consider. I'm not good at the bike yet, but that I could consider buying a bike. That I was 2 years ago, I couldn't walk without a walker or a cane or a rollator, or if it was a long distance, like if we wanted to go to the farm show or Ren Fair, I had to have someone push me in a wheelchair because I couldn't do that. I bought a bike. That is so awesome. I just tell you what, if you're addicted to sugar, yes, you have to give sugar up. There's no two ways about it. But you gain a whole world, a whole life that you can't even begin to imagine now. And it's hard for me to transfer my hope to you if you are despairing. But what I'd like to say is just give it a shot. I'm going to link below to the 3-day challenge, which is something that Amanda made for Eat Like a Bear. Basically, it is try this and see how you feel. Not how much weight do you lose, because it's only 3 days. But try this and see how you feel. Do you think you could do this? Do you think you want to do this? Does it fit? Sometimes people are afraid of trying because they've tried so many times before, and like you're afraid to hope because you're just going to be more despair, and who wants that? The thing about the 3-day challenge is it's like going on a date, okay? You don't have to decide ahead of time. Are you going to marry this guy, and how many kids you're going to have? All you have to do is go, have fun, see if you like each other. The 3-day challenge is a date. It's dating this way of eating and seeing how you feel about it. Maybe you'll hit it off. And if you don't, we are not the stalker kind of date. I promise I will never show up at your house and force you to eat a salad. You're safe. Give it a shot. See if it's worth it. See if you're worth it. I was, and I bet you are too. Give it a try.